One of the things I absolutely hate about shooting video on most cameras is the screen. They're tiny, they're dim in bright sunlight, and half the time, you're basically guessing if your shot is in focus or not. So for about a year, I was looking for an external monitor that would fix that problem without turning my camera into a giant brick. And that's when I found the Feelworld P6XL. And honestly, this thing has completely changed the way I shoot video. This is the Feelworld P6XL, a lightweight, compact monitor that upgraded my workflow without completely destroying my wallet. It basically lives in my camera bag now. If I know I'm shooting video, you can bet everything you have I'm slapping this on my camera. And like I said earlier, I've been looking for a monitor for about a year. Not because my camera footage wasn't good, but because actually seeing what I was filming was just a pain. Most consumer camera screens are just too small. When you're outside, especially in bright sun, you're basically squinting and hoping you nailed focus. So when I stumbled across the P6XL, it pretty much checked all the boxes I was looking for. First off, this thing is surprisingly compact. It weighs 332 grams and is only 17 millimeters thick, which is roughly about 2/3 of an inch. So it's super easy to throw in your camera bag without adding a ton of bulk. But what I really like is that it doesn't feel cheap. A lot of monitors in this price range are made of plastic, but this one actually has an aluminum alloy body, which makes it feel way more durable. And honestly, the design itself is just a chef's kiss for me. Minimal, clean, and simple. Just how I like it. On the bottom, you have your mounting thread, which makes it super easy to attach to your camera or a rig. You've got your HDMI input, a headphone jack, the power button, and a USB-C port for things like firmware updates and transferring LUTs. There are also ventilation ports around the monitor to keep things cool while you're shooting. Nothing too crazy, but everything you need is exactly where you'd expect it to be. One thing that immediately stood out to me is that the monitor actually has a built-in battery, which is great because it means I don't have to go out and buy a bunch of MPF batteries just to use it. At full brightness, it'll run about 2 hours, but realistically, you're rarely gonna run it at full brightness all the time. I actually used this monitor while shooting in the blistering Maldives sun, and even then I didn't always need to crank it up to 100%. So most of the time you'll probably squeeze a little more runtime out of it. And if you're shooting something longer like weddings or events, you can attach the expansion bracket and power it with something like a power bank. But the real reason to buy this monitor is the screen. It's a 6-inch touchscreen with 1200 nits of brightness, which means even outside in the bright daylight, you can actually see what you're doing. And trust me, going from a tiny camera screen to something like this makes composing your shots so much easier. No more squinting, no more guessing, you just see your image clearly. The monitor officially supports up to 4K 30 FPS input, but I've pushed it a little further than that. I've shot 4K 50 and even at 1080 at 150 frames a second, and I've never once had a signal drop, lag, or any weird issues. It just handled everything like a complete champ. Another huge benefit is all the built-in monitoring tools. You get things like waveforms, zebras, false color, focus peaking, audio meters, basically everything you need to make sure your exposure and focus is dialed in. And honestly, if you're a beginner filmmaker, something like this can be a massive confidence boost. It makes it way easier to make sure you're getting the shot right. But my personal favorite feature is the LUT display. You can load up to 32 custom LUTs and preview them while you're filming. And when I was shooting in the Maldives, being able to see my footage on a bigger screen with my LUT applied made a huge difference in how I exposed the shot. It just made it easier to visualize what that final image was going to look like. So who is this monitor actually for? Honestly, it's great for a lot of people. Beginner filmmakers, YouTube creators, run and gun shooters, travel filmmakers, basically anyone tired of squinting at a tiny camera screen. If you're someone who wants to make shooting videos easier and more enjoyable, this thing is a great upgrade. The one thing that it doesn't do though, that I kind of wish it would, is unlock new recording formats for your camera. So if you're using something like the Canon R6 Mark II, and you're hoping to unlock something like the 6K RAW output, the monitor won't do that. For that kind of functionality, you need something more advanced and usually a lot more expensive. But hey, I guess we can't complain. For under 200 bucks, you can't have everything. But if what you're looking for is a simple, affordable monitor that makes shooting video easier, the P6XL is honestly a great option. Out of all the gear I bought over the years, this has already become one of the pieces I use the most. So if you're thinking about upgrading your setup, this might be one of those tools that makes your entire workflow better. But if you have any questions about the monitor, drop them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.